On this episode of Big Boys Don't Cry, we discuss the film Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square. You don't have to have seen the film to enjoy the podcast, but if you do listen without having seen it, just be aware that we may discuss elements of the plot and there may be spoilers. Enjoy. Bad films, bad films, bad films, bad films. We watch them every week on this podcast. There you go. Can you hear me?
I literally just sorted it out so I could just see you singing.
Fuck you. I'm not going to do it again.
I'll listen to it back on the recording. Give me a gist.
I have to do it again. That's fine. Bad films, bad films, bad films, bad films. We watch them every week on this podcast.
Beautiful.
There you go. You can't see the guitar. You must have wondered what the hell I was doing.
I could see you singing and moving your head, so I was like, oh yeah, he's singing some kind of jaunty tune.
That's what I do. Yeah, I just worked out how to play that opening bit from Jolene today, so I thought, why not? It's very nice.
Your mustache is looking very good, by the way.
Thanks. It's the nice light in here, I think, as well. I'm considering growing the full beard back over the Christmas break, but the mustache has proven popular.
You, now that you are a fully fledged dad, you've got to make good use of the dad mustache.
Yeah, it is totally a dad look.
Yeah. There with your jumper and your mustache and your cup of coffee.
It's honey and lemon, but yeah.
Are you not feeling very well?
Hardcore. I got a bit of a non-COVID related phlegm situation.
Oh dear. I thought you just needed something sweet like honey to go with the sickly sweet film that we watched this week.
Yeah. I didn't find it that sweet though. It was like when you go to the sweet shop and you're looking for a sweet, you get a sweet and it's not that sweet, something like licorice. Should be good, but is actually disgusting.
Come out with a packet of Monster Munch. What? How did this happen?
Yeah, pick and mix bag just full of like individual pieces of Monster Munch.
Yes, exactly.
Here we go again with our culinary experiments as started on last week's episode.
Why can't you get savoury pick and mix? It's just one lot's Monster Munch. You've got some McCoys out of another, and then just a giant vat of mashed potato.
Like when you're a kid,
out.
You go into Woolworths and you got the pick and mix. It's literally just all those like plastic trays, but they're all full of different crisps, and you can mix them up. I actually think that would do really well.
Pick and mix for a breakfast buffet, just filling it up with sausages.
Yeah, one of those plastic trays full of scrambled egg.
Yeah, exactly.
And biits of hash browns.
Oh man!
Use the scoop. Use the scoop.
Use the scoop. Just scrambled egg with a scoop. That's into a paper bag
with a scoop that has been used by approximately 2,500 people that day before you got there, and looks like it.
Yeah, that's what we want. It's going to be a winner, I'm sure.
Pick and mix, those are the days.
Oh man, I would say that I miss pick and mix, but I really don't.
Do you miss that feeling of feeling utterly sick after eating a bag of pick and mix?
Well, exactly. I don't miss it at all. I'm quite happy not having pick and mix in my life.
What was your favourite item from the pick and mix?
I'm a marshmallow fiend.
Ah, okay.
Love a marshmallow. Those little curly marshmallows that you used to get in pick and mix. That was my jam.
Oh, the like Twizzler marshmallows. Yeah, those are good.
So good.
Because they're quite reasonably thin as a marshmallow goes, so you can get a substantial bite out of it without feeling like it's kind of filling your whole mouth.
Yes, exactly. That's my thing. I love a bit of marshmallow. What about you? What's your pick and mix fave?
See, I love those white mice. You know the ones?
Oh yes,
it's like white chocolate, really but good. Something about it is different, and it's got this like weird dusting of some kind of weird probably MSG dust on it.
The dust is just skin flakes from the thousands of people that have already touched them over the course of the week in Woolworths that they've been sitting there. That's
my jam. That's what I like.
Yeah, dust flake mice.
Dust mice, yeah.
Dust mice. So did you feel as though Christmas on the Square was a pick and mix extravaganza of various different Christmas tropes all in one place?
I suppose that's fair, yeah. You could perhaps call it a Dolly mix.
Very good, very good. So, yeah, Dolly Parton is a Christmas angel / homeless person.
That's just a statement of fact.
It's just a statement of fact.
She sold her house and now she's homeless, but she wanted to give it all to the nice children or something, knowing her and how just incredibly good she is.
She is one of the most pure people in the world, isn't she?
Yeah, she's given loads of money to the COVID vaccines this year, so she's just, if there's a good thing to be done, you know that she's probably already done it.
Yeah, teaching kids to read, saving our lives from deadly diseases.
Yeah. Funding literacy in this country as well as in the US, interestingly.
Mm-hmm. She is a good one.
Yeah, a very good person with great songs, a back catalogue of songs. I was either going to do Jolene or I was going to do Here You Come Again.
Or you could do Working 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Which is a sassy little number about the depressing state of capitalist society.
Yeah, which Dolly Parton understands, right?
Yeah, she's
so, why wouldn't she want to do a Christmas musical?
Well, quite. And this movie does have initially some very socialist underpinnings from Comrade Dolly Parton.
Yeah. Yeah, there's clearly a capitalist oppressor there, played by Christine Baranski in one of her most iconic roles.
I mean, that might be going a little bit far, but she is very, very good in this, isn't she?
Yeah.
I really love her character. What if Scrooge, but fun?
What if Scrooge, but fun and off of Mamma Mia 2? And Mamma Mia 1.
Exactly, yeah. So did you enjoy Christmas on the Square?
I don't know if enjoy is the right word for it. See... right, I love Dolly Parton. I think she's wonderful and a lot of her work is great. But I don't know that her talent is best deployed at things that appear on screen. So ahead of this, earlier this year, there were some kind of short films. Did you see any of these? It was like Dolly Parton's random romantic cowboy stories or whatever it's called.
Yeah, this was the Netflix one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but it did come up.
We watched some of them and they were all just a bit thin. A bit thin, surface level.
Thin like a marshmallow.
Exactly, yeah, a thin marshmallow, but not in a good way, This was the kind of marshmallow where, you're wanting to toast it over a fire, in which case you need a big marshmallow. Whereas this one, you put it over the fire and it kind of immediately melts into nothing.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same ballpark as you, where... Obviously, she's done a lot of stuff over the years, and some of the acting has been very good.
Yeah, she was in Steel Magnolias, right?
Yep, which is great. But this is a little bit of a waste. And I know that there's the musical numbers, but it still doesn't feel like the most effective use of Dolly Parton's time.
No, it really doesn't. And when you know how much her time gets put to great use, you do question that, don't you?
Yes, yeah. But she was heavily involved in this, obviously.
Yeah. It was based on a stage musical, so it appeared on stage first, and it seems like this is actually seems like it's her idea, and a lot of the writing comes from her. There will be co-writers and stuff, obviously, but I feel like this is more purely her idea, and it shows. Her acting's fine. There's nothing wrong with her acting, but I think the kind of central idea and the writing of all of it just isn't there.
No, and it's the kind of mashup that works fine in a musical, but not so fine when it's transported into onto the screen. So I mean, if you look at, for instance, the perfect example of that is the Producers, which on stage is very, very funny, but then got converted. So it started off as a very funny Mel Brooks movie, got turned into a stage show and was very funny, and then got ported back to the screen not so well. And you can see the sort of essence of a stage show in this, can't you? But there's that separation where it's a different kind of immersion when you're watching something on stage, and it's something that I think we talked a little bit about with Cats, didn't we?
Yes.
And obviously
I was trying to think back to whether I feel like there was something else, and I'm scrolling through our back catalogue to try and find out where we talked about there are some things that work on stage that just do not work on film, and that often the transition between those two things is done well, and things come together really well, like Les Mis with Russell Crowe bellowing and stuff. All of that stuff
exactly.
works. But a lot of the time, when you try to adapt something from the stage to the screen, and you don't give enough consideration to the cinematic medium, you end up with weird scenes like the opening of this, where like everyone's just kind of jumping around the square, and you're like, yep, I can see that this was performed on a stage in the round, or in the square, as the as the term should be.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the main issues here. And it follows through to the plot as well. I wasn't kidding when I suggested that it was like a Christmas pick and mix, because this is a Christmas Carol meets A Wonderful
Christmas
Life.
plot and mix.
Meets other random nonsense, all thrown together into one big old Christmas pot.
Yeah. Meets A Christmas Prince.
Meets A Christmas Prince.
No, let's not sully the good name of Christmas Prince.
No, definitely not. There's the perfect movie. And then it all sort of feels like, it's weird, isn't it? Because it's got all of the stage production elements, all of the dancing all the time, everything like that. But then it really feels a bit like a sort of TV movie, a Hallmark movie almost, doesn't it, at the same time?
I don't know that this is even of the caliber of a lot of Hallmark movies, but I think it's not a fair comparison, because you never see a musical on the Christmas 24 channel, do you? Which is a shame. There should be more attempts to make musicals, and I admire anyone who wants to make a musical, because you know what? Writing like a story or a film or a play or whatever is hard enough without having to include songs in it. But at the same time, because you know that when someone does it and it doesn't work, it's almost more apparent.
Yeah, I think the issue is that when there's those little musical ditties, suddenly you've got that separation, and then they go back to awkward acting and cheesy dialogue immediately afterwards, and you're like, yeah, if you're watching this on the stage, you get that immediate sense of this song has finished, and there's always that brief little pause where everyone recollects themselves, the audience and the performers, whereas here it's just this continuous motion, and it's just not so good, really.
We popped out to get a cup of tea, and you come back and Dolly Parton's floating on a cloud, and you're like, what's going on now?
And I mean, those are some of the best moments, when she's suddenly just there dressed as an angel with wings. Those kind of moments, you're just like, okay, this is where it's at its best. When it's at its most saccharine is when it's working the best. There's sort of these two elements of it, isn't it? There's the saccharine nonsense, and then the sass factor of I guess our main character Regina, played by Christine Baranski, who is just incredibly sassy and very, very funny.
We stan.
Yeah, is brilliant in this, and I think a lot of the flaws of this movie are they're not forgiven, but they are made a lot less potent, because whenever she's on screen being funny, because she's very charismatic and very fun in this film.
Yeah, she's great, and she really, really carries the film, doesn't she, and holds it together. And even though she's supposed to be the kind of evil one, you're kind of rooting for her all the time, even when she's handing out the eviction notices, just because she's like the only proper actor in it. Sorry, Dolly.
How dare you say that about Treat Williams? Thank you.
Treat Williams, the man who, there's that meme where it's like, oh, Mum, can we have X thing? No, we have X thing at home. The X thing at home. He's that, but for Martin Sheen.
Well, I'll have you know that earlier in his career, it was for Harrison Ford. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more of how he looks now.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen him in things before, but he's had a very, very long and quite interesting career, I gather.
Yeah, Treat Williams has been in all sorts over the years. He's been in some real... he's an actor that I fully stan, actually. He's very, very... he's very, very charming. He's got this kind of roguish quality to him, which doesn't really come across in this movie, where he's like this kindly older figure who was the lost love of Christine Baranski's life. Whereas most of the time he's got this kind of cheeky quality to him. So he's in things like I've forgotten the name of it, but it's a movie where he plays a dead detective, and it's these two dead cops that are trying to solve murders still.
Randall and Hopkirk deceased.
Yeah, basically imagine that, but American, so with explosions and shit.
Sounds great.
Yeah, which is really good. I've forgotten the name of it now, but
oh my god, yeah, I've just gotten an email from Spotify emailing me about Meghan Trainor's Christmas. Is this because of you?
So
I feel like this is your fault. Sorry, complete tangent. But do you want to tell the listeners why it's your fault?
Yeah, so I reminded
actually,
Paddy,
this is the horn section of this week's podcast. I was going to actually mention it anyway because we needed to have a horn section, and there wasn't much horn in Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square, was there?
No, it's quite a sweet movie. There's a little bit of horn with Christine Baranski where there's the odd innuendo here and there, which I don't know if they meant or not.
I think she was just slipping it in while Dolly wasn't looking.
Yeah, Dolly
okay,
wasn't
she's
looking.
Gone, quick.
It's like, all right, quickly swap this out for some more God references. Let's do it. But yeah, so instead of that, we needed a horn section in this episode of the podcast, and I reminded Paddy and the rest of Palomino Club of the PR email that Meghan Trainor's people sent out for her last album last year. So let me, shall I give it a dramatic?
Can you do a dramatic reading of it?
Yes. Yeah. So this was the PR email that went out. We know you want to hear songs about all the hot newlywed sex Meghan and Daryl Cervera are having. Did you see what we did there? This is why you'll love the banging single All the Ways. Billboard was wet for All the Ways, calling it another fun, danceable track to fall in love with. And would Billboard lie to you, girl? But perhaps the pièce de résistance, that's French for wig snatch, is Marry Me, a romantic acoustic guitar and ukulele-tinged R-fest, which delivers all the feels and then more feels. Meghan wrote the song 30 days after meeting Daryl, and it was so good that she walked down the aisle to it. We know it's a little bit #vom-worthy, but also, am I chopping onions right now, or are those tears rolling down my face? I'm not crying, you're crying. And then follow up. Valentine's Day is around the corner, and whether you're planning on smashing Bay's junk to smithereens or making out with a pint of fish food, you need some fresh Valentine's Day bops to get you in the mood for love. Love is, of course, spelt with a heart. And Meghan Trainor has got you covered with her new EP, The Love Train. Epic Records!
That's the perfect ending.
Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed that dramatic reading of Meghan Trainor's PR. It's
congrats to the horny person who got paid to write that.
It's certainly #vom-worthy. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Treat Williams. So Treat Williams, right? He is.
We're just going to completely cut. Like we're going to do a cold cut from that, are we?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I think we've said all we need to say about Meghan Trainor's PR. I think that it speaks for itself, doesn't it? It is full on horn. It's hornier than a brass band.
And that's the end of the horn section.
And that's the end of the horn section. So Treat Williams, he's in one of my all-time favourite movies, which is a film called Deep Rising. And I wasn't kidding when he said people got him when they couldn't get Harrison Ford, because that's exactly what happened with Deep Rising. So Deep Rising is one of those perfect subgenres of movie, which is bad horror movie things happen on a boat, which is one of my all-time favorite kinds of film. You show me any movie where it's on a boat and it's a horror movie, I am there for it.
Does Das Boot count?
No, it's too boring and slow. I have zero time for it.
The horror is that it's 5 hours long.
Das Boot is for nerds. That's our hot take of this week.
Is there any romance in it? I'm going to make you watch Das Boot, even though I hate it too.
There's a romance between a man and a submarine. But so Deep Rising, there is a bunch of salvagers. Treat Williams is their captain, along with the guy who played Benny in the Mummy movies.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Who we all love him. He's great. And they are transporting a bunch of obvious mercenaries to this random place in the ocean. Turns out that this random place in the ocean is where the most expensive cruise ship ever made is going to be sailing past. And so then they get all caught up in this hijacking of the cruise ship, and you think, oh, this is going to be like a good old action movie. It's going to be like a Die Hard, but on a boat. But instead, they get on board the cruise ship and everyone's been eaten and there's blood everywhere. And instead, there's giant tentacle monsters all over the place. So it's the few survivors of the cruise ship, Treat Williams, Benny from the Mummy, and a bunch of mercenaries trying to avoid being eaten by giant tentacle monsters. And it's fucking amazing. It's that I don't think there's sufficient. There is romance in it, because of course there's romance in a movie like that, but I don't think there's sufficient romance for us to watch it for the podcast, unfortunately.
I'm just looking at the poster, and it's just like a picture of a big reptilian eye, and at the top it says "Full Scream Ahead." That is good.
Exactly.
And there's also then some text in a very ugly font that says, "From the special effect team who made Total Recall and Star Wars," and special effects team Total Recall and Star Wars are in quotation marks, so it makes it look like it's fake.
Yeah, exactly. So it was made by the guy who then directed The Mummy and The Mummy Returns.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser, exactly.
That's the guy.
And then did Van Helsing. So if you're after that kind of movie, then watch Deep Rising. It's a little bit more grotesque. It's very gooey. There's lots of horrible goo in it. But it is super fun, and I highly
Let's not forget he also directed G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
Of course, can't forget that. Yeah, so yeah, that's your recommendation for this week. Go and watch Deep Rising. It's super awesome. It's really
great.
good fun. Yeah, all-time greatest movies list.
I know something about Treat Williams. He turned 69 yesterday.
That's a very nice birthday for him.
Yeah.
Well done, Treat.
Happy
I'm
birthday,
proud of you.
Treat.
I mean, I do, like I said, I do low-key love him, and I was so happy when I saw him in this movie. I was like, oh my God, it's Treat Williams. Excellent. But you're right that in general, the cast of this is pretty low-key. I didn't really recognize anybody else in any of the other sort of minor roles. There was the odd person here and there that I was like, that person looks familiar.
So the woman who was the angel in training, I recognized her from something, and now I can't remember.
Yeah, I looked her up because I thought she looked familiar, and she'd been in some stuff. So she's been in Grey's Anatomy, which I don't know if you watch Grey's Anatomy.
One of those shows I have never watched and will never watch, of which there's like 1,000 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's been going forever. But yeah, so she's been in all sorts. But
I feel
yeah,
like she was in something we watched.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. But in general, it's a pretty low-key cast. And I don't know whether it's people that, you know, maybe they were in...
I've got it. She was in Bunheads, which was the show that was made by Amy Sherman Palladino, who made Gilmore Girls after Gilmore Girls, which was actually quite good, but didn't do very well.
Oh, okay. I did not know about this show.
Yeah, it's loosely based on like a ballet teacher played by Sutton Foster, but what's her name? Who plays Emily Gilmore is in it, and she's fantastic, obviously.
Oh, okay, excellent. Might have to give that a watch.
Kelly Bishop is her name.
But yeah, it's generally quite a low key cast. And there's some very odd performances, like the incredibly intense pastor.
He was wooden as hell.
Well, he was wooden, but at the same time, he was really, really intense. Yeah. And there was moments where I thought, like, he's going to fucking kill someone. This movie's going to take a turn, and he's going to just...
I love you, my wife. I'm going to kill you now.
he's just gonna stab someone in the face. So I was like, oh, this guy's really scary.
When he started singing his little song about how much he loves his wife, I was excited at that point. I was like, oh yes, this is going to be a good musical. This sounds like it might be a nice song that you could sing along to or whatever. It all went downhill from there.
Well, yes. And again, it's a very sexless place, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously this isn't meant for adult audiences necessarily. I think it's not for kids, because it does have someone being forced to give up their child in it, which I don't think is necessarily right for children. But at the same time, it's not really adult, is it? Because when
a child could watch this and they would be bored.
Yeah, well, yes, they would.
If you compare it to classic films that children watch at Christmas, such as Home Alone, It's a Walk in the Park, Die
Hard, Bad Santa, classic kids Christmas movies,
Fred Claus, all the classics.
Fred Claus, all of the greats. But it's not really for adults, because when he's saying like, we want to have a baby and I really love you, it's like, at least hint that you're sexually attracted to your wife, man, for God's sake.
I don't think they have actually ever had sex, and that's the reason they can't conceive.
You need to have sex if you want to have a child, come on.
Well, obviously not, because she ends up getting pregnant by like immaculate conception towards the end of the film.
Yeah.
Which is one of the weirdest moments of the film.
It's very odd, isn't it? And the wife has been in some other Dolly Parton stuff as well.
Yeah, she was in the other country truck drive-in films on Netflix.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. And yeah, she was fine. She could sing, which was nice. But yeah, it's
you believed her performance 100%.
Yeah, but it's very odd, isn't it? There's all these really weird characters in this town. This super happy town that just so happens to be owned by a 19th century Wild West baron. Who's like, I'm kicking you out. I'm gonna build a shopping mall here, because shopping malls are the kind of things that we need in 2020 America. They're definitely not all going under.
Somebody literally owns a town.
Yeah, this is basically Dolly Parton's Deadwood.
Yeah.
It's
someone's gonna drink her milkshake.
But yeah,
that was weird. In reality, it would be demolishing it to make an Amazon depot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, demolishing it to build a giant statue of Donald Trump or something like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been more realistic.
But no, instead it's I'm gonna build a shopping mall here. Yeah, people are still building shopping malls all over the place. They're doing incredibly well at the moment. It's a really strange decision, and I don't know when the stage musical was written, and maybe it made more sense back then. But that's
it's only a couple of years ago, I think.
But even if it wasn't, that's the kind of thing that you could just change. It has no bearing on the plot. It might be like an Amazon depot, or just I'm going to make it into a golf course or something like that.
Yeah.
Would have made a little bit more sense.
Yeah, if she's wearing her golf gear all the time and she's like, hey guys, I love golf.
I fucking love golf. This place is becoming a golf course. Right over there where the old town shop used to be, that's going to be the fifth innings. Wait, innings? Fifth hole.
Innings.
We're going to have a cricket field on here as well.
Yeah. Treat Williams, you're going to be my caddy.
He'd do a good job as a caddy. I could see him in a little caddy outfit.
Yeah. Dolly Parton's Caddy Shack.
So it's there's some very strange decisions made in this movie, and I don't want to say they're Wazoian, but do you know what I mean? That it's getting to that level of just bizarre, and I think just having this.
There are some weird non sequiturs or lines like, "Oh my god, I do have a brain tumor."
Yeah, it's
which did actually at the time remind me of when Lisa's mum in the room goes,
"I definitely
everything's bad and I'm dying."
Yeah,
and Lisa's like, "No, you're not. You're fine."
And then, but thankfully they do resolve that plot because someone does say, "No, don't worry, you don't have a brain tumor."
Yep.
Which at least adds a little bit of closure to that element.
So that subplot exists there, basically just to make sure she can have some hilarious run-ins with the Doctor, who she keeps hitting with her car.
Yeah, and I thought there was going to be some kind of love triangle thing going on, where she loves Treat Williams, but then also maybe the Doctor's in on it as well. But no, she just keeps hitting him with her car. But then it gets onto the really bizarre plot twist, which is she doesn't just hate this town because she's a greedy capitalist who hates all of these schmucks who are there, which I think is reason enough. But instead that when she was younger, Treat Williams was going to ask her to marry him, but she thought it was giving the ring to somebody else.
Because he showed it to another girl and was laughing with her at it. Yeah,
which makes sense because obviously if she knew him well, she'd definitely know if he knew this girl who was a friend, who I assume she is.
In the town where like everyone knows each other. It's the smallest town in America. Friendliest place on earth, everyone knows each other. Oh no, they don't know each other when it's important to create a plot.
No, exactly. So instead she has a night of passion with a guy wearing a terrible shirt with an awful beard.
Yeah.
As was the style at the time. Is then pregnant and is forced to give up the baby after giving birth by her dad.
Yeah.
In a really fucking
a man
twisted...
who is mostly Chin.
Yeah, Captain Chinley, I think is his official name in the film. And it's a really twisted, horrible shift in the storyline from what came before it, and it really doesn't fit at all.
Yeah,
but then guess
it's very
what?
upsetting actually when it takes that turn.
Yeah, it's really awful. But guess what? It all works out fine because spoiler alert, just an additional spoiler alert here. It turns out that the baby she gave up is the creepy pastor who's going to murder his wife.
Yeah, the guy who ended up back in the same town and she never had any idea.
Yeah, it's really dumb. I'm sorry, but it is just very, very stupid. Even for a movie that's as schmaltzy as this, it doesn't work. Which I think is a real...
No, because there's no depth to it at all. It literally just like, you find out she gave up the baby a couple of scenes later, turns out it's the guy, that's it. There's like her wondering about the baby. That's the thing. At no point is it even explored. It's just like, oh, she gave up a baby. You know, there you go. That's the thing. It happened. Yeah. You don't know how she feels about it until you see that one upsetting scene, and the rest of the time it's just her like walking around sassing people, and you're like, come on, give us a little bit of like guilt and grief.
Well, the thing is that there's no time for her to give any guilt because you find out about it, and then 2 minutes later they've explained who the baby is.
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes before the end.
Yeah, it's really strange. And then, there's no room for sort of him to go, I don't know if I want to have this relationship with my birth mother, or her saying, oh no, we've got so much lost time to make up. And the idea that she should automatically forgive her father because he was a bit sad about giving up her child is a very weird...
like literally taking the baby the second it was born.
Yeah, and
which I'm sure is not how it works.
But it's very odd that it sort of goes. It goes in that direction, and then it's a movie about forgiveness, and you know that part of that is forgiving her for thinking about selling the town, but then there is this other point of she should forgive her father for making her give up her child. So no, fuck that shit. No forgiveness for people who are like that. He can go fuck himself in Chin Hell, which is where he is.
Chin Hell. He's there with Jimmy Hill, Bruce Forsyth. All the big-chinned men of yore.
All the chins. Or maybe Chin Hao is being surrounded by chinless people. He's just there with all of the royals, all the dead royals, going, "Oh, what a big chin you have."
Yeah. Give me some of that chin, man.
Give me some of that chin.
You got enough to go around.
Yeah, exactly. Just they're rubbing their chinless forms against his chin, trying to gain chin by osmosis.
Yeah.
But it's not working.
The guy who Charles Dance played in The Crown, who got blown up on the boat by the IRA, he's there. He's like, give me some of that chin, man.
Give me that chin.
Lord Mountbatten. That's the one.
Lord Mount and get some chin. But yeah. No, fuck that. That's a terrible thing to take away from this movie.
Yeah,
I think,
awful.
Forgiveness in general is maybe a good concept to push forward, but
because they forgive her for being a mean, sassy old witch, as they call her, the wickedest witch.
Yeah, they forgive.
And there's a very
her
long song about it that lasts for about half of the film while they're all jumping around in the church.
Yeah, they're all in the church going, "Oh, she's evil, 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 evil. Don't swear in church.
We're doing a musical. Did you know this is a musical?" It was that kind of song, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think maybe the context behind... Because I'm also not entirely on board with forgiving her. I forgive her because she's Christine Baranski. She's great.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reason...
Anything.
Yeah, I forgive her. She could come out and say that she was secretly behind murdering my entire family. Be like, it's fine. Come on, let's go have dinner. Something like that. But her character, I'm not sure she would be necessarily allowed forgiveness for trying to destroy the lives of an entire town of people. And you do get that concept of that sort of context around it that, okay, this is actually a very, very painful place for her. She didn't have this relationship with her father that everyone else seems to have, where they all seem to idolize this guy.
She even tried to evict the dogs, man.
Yeah.
She stuck eviction notices on those poor doggos.
Yeah, but even then, Eat the Rich, I think, is the real message of this movie, and I don't necessarily think that it would be worth forgiveness, but definitely not her dad, who seems to be an absolute evil monster. I'm sorry,
the dogs should definitely eat him.
Yeah, the dogs, they should dig up his body and feed it to the dogs. That's the message of this. That's the message.
While
of this
Dolly
film.
Parton sings a nice song over it.
Dog meat, dog meat, dog meat, dog meat.
Oh, it would have some nice life lesson in it, wouldn't it?
I'm begging of you, please just eat my dad.
When you're eating your dad, don't forget to be thankful. It'd be something like that.
When you're eating your dad, don't ever be sad. Be thankful that he's feeding your dogs. That kind of thing, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Which is what a lot of her songs in this film are like. There's the one about lighting your lamp. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, light your lamp. Be happy it's Christmas.
Yeah.
Kill the rich. That was the best one.
That was the best one.
But yeah, so yeah, and so it's very tame, isn't it? And I guess you expect that from Dolly Parton, don't you? She is a positive songwriter these days. Obviously, you've got that sort of more dark, or maybe dark's the wrong word, but more sort of brooding element in earlier works. But a lot of her stuff of late is much more sort of upbeat, and it fits very much with her other releases of late. But I don't necessarily think it's some of her best work. I hope that's not a mean thing to say.
No, you could be, tame and, appropriate for children and not necessarily doing anything deep. Not everything has to be, deep and cutting and hard-edged, does it? But you still need a certain level of good storytelling. And this, I think doesn't quite get there, does it?
No.
Even for a musical.
It's very paper thin. It's and much more so than I don't think it really has the charm of a lot of the other more sort of like cheesy musicals either. Like if you compare this, and obviously it's not a direct comparison because the budget is is way off. But you compare this to Mamma Mia, for instance, which again has a not particularly strong plot, lots of cheesy moments, and full of songs. It doesn't have that same energy to it, really, does it?
No, not at all. I mean, they could have got Bronholm. He could have had the Treat Williams role.
He could have had the Treat Williams role. I bet he would have loved it.
Where he sings sort of weirdly angrily in his toy shop.
Yeah, I'd be fully on board with that.
Yeah. It's actually not dissimilar to when in Mamma Mia 2 when he's singing SOS sadly while looking at pictures of his sexy dead wife. It'd be like that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's one of those things where often movies like this, there'll be a big disparity between what critics think and what audiences think. Particularly with something like Dolly Parton, where you've got that really, really strong fandom who are really on board with a lot of her work. But actually, they're pretty similar. So an average score of 51% versus a 5.2 out of 10 of audience score on IMDb. And then when you go over to Rotten Tomatoes, the audience score is at 49%. So generally, it's not been going over too well with people.
No, but interestingly, I thought there would be a worse critical response, and most of the critical response seems to be Dolly Parton's really nice. This isn't as good as her usual stuff, but hey, Christmas, you know? And that might be to do with where we are right now, because, 2020 and stuff as well, yeah? You just can't be hateful about something like this, can you?
No, and I think that's completely right. But basically, people have said, fuck it, it's been a bad year, this is nice and uplifting. Fuck you if you're looking for more than this. Yeah. It's been the general critical response, hasn't it?
That's basically all that we want to say, right?
And looking at the critical, the more critical of the reviews, you do kind of read them and think, oh, fucking get over yourself, man, don't you?
Lighten up.
You do think, like, take that stick out of your ass.
Light your lamp.
Just enjoy this piece of shit movie for what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think you are, Roger Ebert?
Yeah, it's corny, it's nonsense, but the songs are catchy, and it's got some really weird moments that are worth talking about on a podcast, which is what we look for in a movie.
Yep. And the guy who can sing really nice falsetto gets to do so in a moment that's not incongruous at all.
It's really... Are you talking about dad with dying daughter moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is just horrendous. Again, it's another one of those awfully sad moments in this movie that shouldn't be there. So his daughter's gets hit by a car, or
she gets hit by a car,
and needs brain surgery, and so he's there crying and saying, "I'm a sad dad. I'm a dad that's sad,"
and singing all the words,
my daughter.
Singing every single line like he's trapped in the closet.
It's very bad and doesn't fit at all with the rest of the movie thematically, but it's there and it's worth talking about. And so
no, it's actually the kind of real turning point of the film, isn't it? Because it gives evil Christine Baranski the opportunity to pay lots of money to fly in the best neurosurgeon in town in a helicopter.
Yeah, it's from hundreds of miles away. They fly in the best neurosurgeon in the country.
That's how that works.
That's exactly how it works. She's there. This other neurosurgeon, she's there.
She's not got any other patients, or like
she's literally about to perform surgery on another child that's been hit by a car. When the hospital gets a call in and says, "Well, we've just been offered several $1 million. You're out of here. This kid can die, but there's another rich kid who needs saving. Off you go."
Yeah,
that's American healthcare at Christmas, everybody.
With falsetto.
The goodwill of rich people will murder another child elsewhere in the country because there's a child that they want to save instead.
Yeah. But yeah, that's right. That kind of says, everything's fine as long as you have a rich person to pay for stuff.
Yeah, the rich people are the true guardian angels. I've got Elon Musk constantly giving me money to prop up this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Which is why
he's on your shoulder.
That's why we're
and
always
you've got a Jeff Bezos devil on the other shoulder.
I can be your angel or your devil. That's why we're always so positive about Amazon and Tesla products on this podcast.
Yeah, we're always talking about how much we love Elon
We
Musk.
fucking love Elon. The weed smoking buffoon. Love it.
Weed smoking angel.
That's something I'd watch. Make us Bad Santa, but with angels instead.
Bad Angels.
Bad Angels.
Starring Elon Musk. There's your poster.
Elon Musk. Yes. Elon Musk. It's long
That's just
past
Elon Musk in a black Christmas hat.
Well, Elon
80% opacity.
Elon Musk has already acted because he did play a character in Rick and Morty, aka the funniest show of all time.
Doesn't count.
And the smartest show of all time. Only true geniuses can understand the absolute comedy of Rick and Morty.
Funniest shit I've seen. Did he play Pickle Musk? Was that the name of his character?
He did not. He played a character called Elon Tusk, who is a billionaire from a different universe, who's basically Elon Musk, but he's got tusks.
That is a good joke. I like that.
It's the funniest joke. So he's there and he helps them with an adventure at some point, and he does the voice. So we know he can act as himself. We just need to push him to act as somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can do it. Elon, if you're listening, and we know you are because we know you're a big fan.
You listen every week in between launching rockets into space and getting coronavirus
and smoking weed on podcasts. We've got a proposition for you. You'd have to fund it, but we know you're a generous man. We want you to play a sassy angel in a movie about a sassy angel.
I genuinely think he would really enjoy it.
He would. He'd be on board with it. Come on, Elon. Get on it. Come join us. Let's make a movie.
Yeah.
This is our jumping off point. He'll be our financier for all of our different projects.
This is your calling, Elon.
Yeah, we've got a cinematic universe to create, and you can be the star of the first movie and then the silent backer for the rest of them.
Yeah. I don't know that he's capable of being silent about anything, though.
You could be my hero, Elon. You could take away the pain. I'll stand by you in your cars forever.
The thing is, he's the world's richest shit poster. And that is something that we need.
I do have time for... You've got all of these people. Like, you've got these fucking jebens like John Cleese and J.K. Rowling who decide, I'm obsessively rich. I'm going to go and tweet bigotry on my account, and that's what I'm going to do with my time from now on. Whereas at least with Elon Musk, he's got this amazing scattergun approach of bullshit. He doesn't just stick to one topic. He's all over the fucking place with it. And at least I can respect that. I can respect the arseholery of just posting a load of different nonsense and riling up everyone. If I was a billionaire, I'd be more likely to do that than just focus on one marginalized group and try and make their lives worse.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want to say? Trans kids shouldn't have health care, or do you want to say cats can't look down? You know,
exactly. Which is when the opposite is true. Cats are looking down all the time, and they're looking down on you.
This is how we get the fight done. This is how we get the fight started. You know, who would you rather follow on social media? My money is on the guy posting nonsense 24/7.
Of course. 100%.
That's what we want. Anyway, Elon
putting
Musk
rockets into space and whatever. You know, what have you done today?
But precisely. So Elon Musk is not in Christmas on the Square, but maybe he should have been.
I would have loved that. That would have been so good.
He could have played the Doctor.
Yeah. Or the angel,
or,
the angel who's just called Angel. I think he'd appreciate the directness of that.
Or he could be the pastor.
Yeah, who turns out to be Christine Baranski's son. That would definitely work.
Yeah, that would definitely work.
I don't know. Can he sing? He's been releasing music, hasn't he?
Has he been with his wife?
No, on his own. Didn't he release a dance track?
Oh, I love that. Thing is, do you like Grimes?
Yeah.
I think she's good.
Some of her older stuff I think was better than her more recent efforts, but yeah, in general I think her music is good and really interesting.
So yeah, if Elon's got the magic touch with music as well, he could do a little Christmas musical.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Elon Musk releases EDM track, Don't Doubt Your Vibe. I haven't listened to it. I don't know what it's like.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to this. Okay, here we go. Music Ventures on March 30th, 2019. Musk released a rap track, R.I.P. Harambe, on SoundCloud under the name Emoji Records. The track was performed by Young Jake. And then, yes, Don't Doubt Your Vibe, an EDM track featuring his own lyrics and vocals.
God, remember Harambe?
Yeah, that was better days, sort of. TechCrunch referred to Don't Doubt Your Vibe as not a bad representation of the genre. That's something. That's a great review.
That's probably as good a review as he could hope for.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, right, back to we've gone massively off tangent. Back to Christmas on the Square.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else you'd like to
Christmas on the Square?
Have you got anything else you'd like to say about Elon Musk's Christmas on the Square?
Let's see. I mentioned the falsetto guy. He had a lovely voice. That was nice. I mean, I think the songs aren't bad, but I couldn't sing you any one of them now, and I guess that's kind of a test of a musical, isn't it? Like, for a musical to be truly effective, I think the songs need to be, wall-to-wall bangers, or mostly, and it didn't quite get there for me, even though a lot of them were good.
Yeah, they were good songs, but like you said, I wouldn't be able to sing any of the songs from this movie.
No.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a shame. Yeah, and I don't have any trivia for this movie either.
No?
No, I guess maybe it's a bit too recent.
You didn't find out whether there was a mandate that every single line of the film had to rhyme?
You know what I did find out? Treat Williams is still a gem.
Yeah.
That's what I found out.
We'll allow you, Treat.
Yeah, he is our treat for all of us. So how are we going to rank this movie?
Let's see. How many shops are on the square that you're going to demolish to make a mall?
That's a good one. So I'm gonna give it a solid 10. I don't think you can go lower than that for Dolly Parton. We love her too much.
I'll go one lower. I'll give it a 9.
Ooh, harsh man at Christmas.
Yeah,
we all know who the real Scrooge is.
Humbug.
Not dishing out his points. It's not particularly good. I'm never going to watch it again. But it's Dolly Parton. What can you do about Dolly Parton?
Actually, there are a lot of nice moments that are, I guess, worth watching it for, where she sits on a cloud and stuff. So
Yeah, exactly.
In the year that we've had, just let yourself enjoy it.
Yeah, allow yourself some absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
So that's that is it from me. So we've got another good one, but I'll let you have that as your choice, and I'm going to choose a piece of shit.
Yeah, you are, as you always do.
Well, so I'm gonna go for what I think is the more seedy piece of shit, and then I'm going to leave the nonsense for the last movie that we watched for this holiday season. So I'm going to choose Just Friends for us to watch.
This is on Netflix as well.
It is.
Actually is not like new.
No, so this came out in 2005.
That's right, yeah.
Ryan Reynolds comes home at Christmas time and things happen. I have no idea how good it is, but I'm going to hazard it. He's fat now. Oh no, he was fat, now he's not fat.
Oh, okay, right. It's the other way around.
Shallow
Ryan.
Shallow Ryan, yeah. So I suspect it's not going to be great, but I think that's part of the allure of this movie.
Yeah, it looks awful, if I may say so.
Yeah, I'm fully excited about watching this. Yeah, excellent stuff.
Good. Well, I am glad that it is Christmas, or by which I mean it's December. You got a tree up?
No, not yet. I think we're going to do everything this weekend coming.
Good. We got ours up just yesterday, actually.
Oh, very good. I think it's fine to have it up as early as possible, really, because it's been such a bad year. Just enjoy Christmas time, everyone.
Yeah, just enjoy it, you know. It's a time for giving, a time for receiving, a time for goodwill. So, you know, that's why we are going to watch this terrible film.
This terrible film, yeah.
Yeah, but seriously, yeah, give yourself a break.
Yes, yeah, have a Kit Kat.
Yep.
And yeah, watch some Dolly Parton, and then watch Deep Rising for Treat Williams trying to not get eaten by tentacle monsters.
Yeah.
The true meaning of Christmas.
That is the true meaning of Christmas. All right. You can find us on Twitter at BigBoysDon'tPod. You can email us bigboysdon'tcrypodcast@gmail.com if you like what we do. There's a link in our show notes where you can give us money. It's not like a subscription thing or anything, just a kind of one-off. Drop us think of it like a tip jar, you know.
Yes, yeah, exactly. If you like what we do, give us a little Christmas treat.
Hey, a treat, Williams.
Exactly.
Yep, send him our way. All right, and we'll be back next week to talk about Just Friends.
Alrighty.
All right,
bye-bye.
Bye. Bad films, bad films, bad films, bad films. We watch them every week on this podcast. There you go.